Hey, everybody. My name is Jennifer. I'm the nutrition coach here at Bandit CrossFit. Welcome to Top Tips to Save Time when Meal Prepping. This is March's Lunch and Learn. I'm super excited that you're here to dive into our top tips when it comes to saving time when meal prepping, because I think that's everybody's kind of biggest hang up when they hear meal prepping is they're like, oh my gosh, who has time for that? But once you've gotten into meal prepping and that's become a habit of yours, my reaction as a regular meal prepper is how do you have time not to meal prep? In other words, it saves me so much time. So, what is your biggest barrier when it comes to meal prepping? What is holding you back? So, first question is what area is your biggest barrier when it comes to meal prepping? You can drop that in the chat. Um, I always like to go over our Healthy Steps Nutrition framework. We're partnered with them I work under a registered dietitian with Healthy Steps Nutrition. Um, we believe that something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple habit-based approach where we work on all of the things here in this wheel, starting with nutrition. We also address our stress, our sleep, exercise, the support system, the people that we spend the most time with, and then just our lifestyle in general. Um, we know that helping you become the healthiest version of yourself isn't just about what you eat or just working out at the gym a couple times a week. So you've probably noticed that when your nutrition choices are not as good when, let's say, we're stressed out or we're tired. So that's why we work on stress and sleep and all of these other things as well. So we kind of focus on a holistic approach, focusing on all of these things. So let's dive into today's topic. We want to save time, we want to save money, and we want to make it as simple as possible. So we all know that meal prepping is a game changer when it comes to staying on track with your health goals. But let's be honest, it sounds like it's simple, but it's also far from easy. So if you've ever had one of those days where you get home after a long work day and you realize there's no food prepped, or you forgot to defrost the meat, it's a super letdown. And suddenly the idea of cooking feels like a mountain to climb, and ordering takeout seems like the only option. But we all know that takeout doesn't always align with our goals. And let's face it, it is also super expensive these days to get food from anywhere. So maybe you've been there rushing out the door in the morning, skipping breakfast and coffee at home. So you stop at Starbucks because it feels faster and easier. But that $10 to $15 in breakfast isn't just burning a hole in your wallet. It's also packed with sugar and fat, and that won't set you up to have the best day. Or doesn't set up our waistlines well either, right? So now what if we could create a plan that makes home cooked meals just as convenient, if not more convenient? What if you could save money, fuel your body, and feel your best every day without the stress? So in today's talk, we're going to dive into 3 simple tips that will help you start meal prepping in a way that saves you all of these things, saves you time, saves you money, and will help keep you on track for your health goals. So why does meal prepping matter? Meal prepping helps you to stick to your goals, to save money, and it also reduces a lot of stress, especially if what a lot of my clients will do is plan out their meals and prep as much as they can. They keep it written on a paper calendar, and then they put that one to the side. They make a new one the next week. And after a month of doing that, you have 4 calendars that you can just kind of rotate through, and it saves you a ton of time. There's no stress about meal planning what's for the week. It's already on your calendar, and you just rotate throughout those things. Meal prepping is key to avoiding last minute takeout and unhealthy food choices. And we can do it without making you feel overwhelmed, I promise. So the goal of meal prepping is to save time by having meals ready to go. We want to make the healthy choice the easy choice. So think of it as making the healthy option your grab and go option. Save money by avoiding takeout or expensive impulse buys, and keep meals as simple as you can so that you can stay consistent and you can stay focused on your goals. So setting aside time to plan, this is tip number one, step number one. Make sure that you take about 20 to 30 minutes out of your week to plan out your meals. This can be simple in step one. You don't even have to start meal prepping yet. Just simply planning your meals will save you a lot of time and stress. I like to do this on Thursday or Friday evenings so that then the next day I can start to put the things that I need into my grocery order. And then I can either grocery shop or do a pickup to get all that taken care of. So when we start new habits, it's essential to figure out a consistent day and time to implement that habit. Go ahead and block out time on your calendar and schedule it. Because if it's scheduled, you'll have the time set aside to do it. And it will be a reminder on your calendar to actually get it done. Then you kind of want to map the habit out. Imagine all of the little things that you typically constantly forget to do. It's because you didn't map the habit out. So here's a broad overview of the steps to consider when planning out your plan, right? When you're sitting down to plan that out. So you've got to gather recipes. You've got to go through your pantry and your freezer, your refrigerator, making note of the items that you need to pick up before the next week. You've got to decide which meals and what you will eat each day. And then you need to write out your grocery list based on that meal plan and the things that you need to buy, the ingredients that you'll need. Another reason why keeping those calendars, once you've got them, you can flip them over and keep a grocery list on the back, and then it makes it real easy to go through and see what you need. This planning part of meal prepping is crucial for success. By planning, you're able to buy only what you need and avoid waste and unnecessary purchases. Also, a tip for doing grocery pickup, you don't accidentally or get sucked into buying something that you didn't plan on buying. So it saves you money and impulse buys. This also means no more last minute takeout because you have a plan. No drive-through stops on the way home because dinner is already half prepped or you know what you're going to do when you get home. I like to keep my meal plan simple by planning for one breakfast for the week. Like I eat the same thing every day for breakfast. We do 2 to 3 dinners and alternate and have leftovers. And then I usually rotate 2 lunch options. I even plan when I'll be dining out and what I'm excited to order when I go. So I'll look at the menu ahead of time so that I'm not tempted to pick something that just sounds good in the moment. I've already looked at the menu ahead of time and made a choice based on, what I think the healthiest option would be. Helps to ensure you're not ordering everything off the menu because your stomach is growling while you're getting there or while you're sitting there. To get the ball rolling for your prep, here are some of our top HSN meal prep recipes. Egg roll in a bowl is literally the easiest recipe you will ever make. It only has 3 ingredients and it's packed with protein and vegetables to keep you fueled and full. Super simple, takes maybe 10-15 minutes. The cheesy beef and broccoli bake is another one of my clients' favorites. It's cooked in one dish and it has broccoli and cauliflower in it, ground beef, and a little bit of cheese. The cauliflower is mashed cauliflower, so it kind of mimics like shepherd's pie to me. You got the broccoli on the bottom, and then you put that mashed cauliflower over it in your meat. It's super good. I may have the order of that mixed up because I probably do it different every single time I do it. Then there's also a sun-dried tomato pesto turkey sausage bolognese. This one takes a little bit more time to prep, but if you are prepping on the weekend, this is one of those that you can start it and leave it cooking while the other things, while you're working on other things in the kitchen that day. And then when you've got done, you can, eat it over or package it up for a good dinner during the week. To pair with like spaghetti squash or like a half fiber pasta or something like that during the week. We have a spaghetti night once a week at my house because it's fast and easy, especially if I've made the sauce ahead of time. Some breakfast recipes that are great are our egg muffins. It's a great balanced breakfast. You can put whatever vegetables you like in it. I think the original recipe calls for like peppers and maybe broccoli, but I typically use spinach and tomatoes because that's just what I like. Overnight oats is another one. My middle daughter is hooked on the double chocolate overnight oats right now. She eats them every single day and they're so good. It's got oats and some protein powder, Greek yogurt, chocolate chips. Super good. So this is where our recipes, if you go to banditcrossfit.com, I have a link to this Healthy Steps Nutrition recipes. There are a ton of recipes on there, broken down into breakfast, lunch, dinner. There's sides, there's treats, there's sweets, there's snacks. There's even a whole vegetarian section. That was a lot for tip number one, but tip number two is to just keep it simple. Stick to simple, nutritious meals with minimal ingredients. So sometimes when we look at recipes, we can get bogged down in looking for these things that, they have a ton of ingredients and a ton of steps, where I like to just keep it super simple. Like, if you've ever come to one of my seminars in person, or done a power hour or nutrition challenge with us, one staple that I always give out is the food options guide. And so you can keep it so simple by just picking a meat, and you don't have to cook it complicated. Just season it up and saute it or bake it or grill it. And then, pick a couple of vegetables for the week, maybe 4 different vegetables that you like, and cook them in bulk. If you roast your vegetables, they taste really good reheated. You don't have to, chop them up every single night and cook. Again, you can chop them on the weekend. And then you can cook them during the week, or you can chop them and cook them on the weekend and then just serve them during the week. Kind of depends on your schedule and your preference. But broccoli, asparagus. I'm obsessed with Brussels sprouts right now. I'm eating them every single week, almost every single day. Zucchini and squash are great vegetables as well. Those are just kind of the ones that rotate in our house. Sauteed spinach is also super easy and also really good for you. And then picking out a couple of carbohydrates, some carrots, some potatoes, some squash, sweet potatoes. Keep it simple. Research indicates that families often follow routine meal plans with a rotation of about 12 to 20 meals. So just like I said, if you keep a calendar and rotate it, you're going to stay much more consistent and see better success. Rotating recipes and meals is a great way to keep it simple while having variety in your meals each week. Because if you have 4 calendars and they each have 4 weeks on it, you're only going to be seeing those same meals once a month. And I also get my family involved. Like, typically when I'm sitting down on Thursday or Friday evening, sometimes we do it when we're eating dinner. I ask them, like, what do y'all want for dinner next week? Each person picks one thing that they really want, and it, goes in the rotation. And I really like to cook, so we add in some new recipes all the time, and then we vote, is it a keeper or a we ain't never making this again kind of thing. We make a lot of decisions every day. So when we can simplify more things in our life, the better. It makes life much more enjoyable and decreases stress, especially when it comes to prepping. So simple meals reduce your prep time, and they minimize decision fatigue. Who doesn't love simplicity? So when we talk about simplifying our meals, this can kind of look like using versatile ingredients that can be used across different meals. So eggs are great as a breakfast. They're also good as a snack, like if you make boiled eggs. And then you can also top that on a salad for extra protein. Eggs are a great source of protein. Beans are also a good one to cook up ahead of time and to add to chili. You can throw a couple on your salads. You can use them in soups. You can use it on tacos. And then even like wraps or something like that. Beans have a lot of energy in them from the carbohydrates, and they also satisfy us because they have a lot of fiber. Bell peppers are another favorite that can be spread out all over lots of different kind of meals, right? We can saute them and use them in stir fries with meat. You can put them on salads, fajitas. They're even good, just cut them up and eat them with hummus as a snack. Also go really well in casseroles. And I like to add them to just about any vegetable that I'm roasting because color is good. You're more likely to stay consistent with your meal prep when it's not overwhelming. So fewer ingredients equals fewer chances for food to spoil, because with prices the way they are, none of us want to be throwing away food at the end of the week. So let's talk about tip number 3, cooking in bulk. You've planned what you want to make. So looking at that Sunday afternoon, or sometimes like when we're busy on the weekends, I'll do my prep on Monday afternoons or into Monday evening. So cooking in bulk means you spend less time in the kitchen during the week. You'll always have your meals on hand. You just pull them out of the refrigerator and heat them up, and you won't have to cook every day. This doesn't always work for me because I like to cook dinner for my family every night, but I do at least meal prep my lunches and sometimes breakfast, depends on what I'm having for the week. Lately I've just been cooking eggs every morning because that's what's working and that's what I like. It is easier to portion meals and control your serving sizes if you're preparing them on the weekend. Instead of making individual meals, you can kind of think about batch cooking. Sometimes I do this with like chicken breasts, and then I also will do it with vegetables just to keep a big thing of vegetables already cooked in the refrigerator and pull them out. Also really depends on the week. If we're super busy and I don't have time to cook every night, then I will have some meals prepped where we're just reheating or kind of putting things together that night before we eat them. So you can also do like your carbohydrates reheat really well, like rice or quinoa, sweet potatoes, and then reheated roasted are good too, or even mashed sweet potatoes are easy to reheat. So focus on recipes that store well and can be mixed and matched for variety. Bowls are a big go-to of mine. Like I love like a Mediterranean or kind of like a pasta bowl, taco bowls, or my absolute favorite is a burger bowl, and I'll put an egg over that too, and it's so good. If you're wanting to be extra efficient with your time, you can think about chopping your vegetables if you're going to be eating salads or having like those bowls during the week. If you're trying to increase like fruit and veggie intake, going ahead and cutting those up on the weekend and placing them in the fridge where they're already cut and you can just grab and go, even keeping them in individual, like packages, especially if you have kids or you're on the go a lot. Don't put them in the drawers where you don't see them. Keep them at eye level and where you see them when you open the fridge. Also, freezing portions or leftovers rather than throwing them out is great. Saves even more time whenever things are busy to prep. I have a lot of clients that cook double of their meals every couple of weeks so that they can get some stock in the freezer and they can skip meal prep on the weekends every now and then. I've got a bonus tip for you. Invest in good quality meal prep containers. We are in the middle of what we call MOCA challenge at the gym. What MOCA stands for Make Our Coast Healthy Again, kind of piggybacking off of the MAHA movement and stuff that's been in the news with the election and stuff last year. But anyhow, so in the MOCA challenge, we've been really trying to clean up not just the ingredients in our food and trying to reduce, processed food intake, but also in the products that we use on our, your shampoo, your dish soap, your laundry detergent, all of that kind of stuff. But one thing that we have been trying to put into practice too is switching from using plastic and using glass instead. I bought a set of glass meal prep containers, and they're not fancy and divided or anything. They look just like these rectangle ones here. And when I don't want my food to touch, I just kind of separate it a little bit. It's not terrible. But I really like to reheat with glass because I know that there's no plastic leaking into my food. And I typically use like a toaster oven to reheat my food anyways. And it just tastes really good and so much better when it's in the glass and the toaster oven rather than the microwave. But glass food containers are a great choice because we don't get the BPAs and the phthalates that leak into our food, especially once they're being heated up. And they're easy to clean, and I hope they're gonna last longer. I mean, unless I drop it, I guess, it's dishwasher safe. If you put red sauce in it, it's not going to turn your plastic red, and all that good stuff. And we are working slowly on trying to put, like when I have a whole meal and I'm putting it away, to switch to glass on that. But it is more expensive. So just, every now and then when I see them on sale, I'm picking them up. What about some kitchen gadgets that might make prepping easier? Investing or maybe dusting off your slow cooker or your Instant Pot. I love my Instant Pot to help you simplify cooking is a great option too. It saves a lot of time. I don't use my slow cooker as much anymore since I got an Instant Pot. But I like it. So you can kind of double your recipes and those kind of things too. Other options, maybe an air fryer. To just give you an extra place to cook veggies. You can, and when we meal prep too, I try to utilize as many cooking areas, I guess, or cooking devices as I can so that I can have a lot going on at one time. Like some things in the oven baking, some things on the stovetop, boiling or, sauteing or something like that. The Instant Pot is going with something in it, and I don't have like a separate air fryer, but my little toaster oven does an air fry setting. So I usually have like sweet potatoes or broccoli or something like that going in there as well. So utilizing all of those things at one time really saves a lot of time, and you get a lot out of your time. Yeah, I think that's all the gadgets I wanted to talk about. Yeah, instead of spending, 30 minutes to an hour every day in the kitchen, if you can spend 1 to 2 hours on the weekend to prep, really cuts down the time that you are spending in the kitchen during the week. And then that frees up some time to spend more time with your family, or to actually get to the gym or go outside for a walk, or, I mean, like now the sun's up longer. So having outside time in the evening is really good. So if you want to try to get started this week, the things that you need to do to save time, to save money, and to fuel your body properly is to plan ahead, keep it super simple, cook in bulk when you can, and think about utilizing all of the kitchen gadgets that you have. Multiple things going at one time. We want to store in airtight containers to keep your food fresh, and write the dates on containers so you can kind of keep track of freshness. Typically, most meal prepped meals will last about 3 to 4 days in the fridge. Honestly, like we have a 7-day rule in my house, and things go away when they're 7 days old. I mean, we haven't gotten sick, so, You want to store also, like if you have something that's really wet and something else that's really dry, you want to separate those so they're not, icking each thing up. This is probably the hardest question, how to stay motivated to meal prep regularly. So set a routine. Like I said, you're going to block out that time to plan, and then you also need to block out that time that you're actually going to do it. When we set a routine and we adjust as needed, kind of based on our lifestyles, our travel, and different seasons of the year, prepping once a week at a set time can become a habit. And the more that we do things regularly and consistently, it's super beneficial to being able to maintain that habit. So you kind of got to get on board with it and just kind of dig in for those first couple of weeks until it becomes a habit. It really can become a fun group activity for your family. And the more that you do it, the less it feels like a chore, and it just feels like, something that you do as a family and you can enjoy it. Trying new recipes or challenging yourself to try new things can kind of help to keep things fresh and exciting, because it can get, monotonous, especially if we're eating the same things all the time. So remembering to mix it up is a great idea. You can also do other things while you're meal prepping, just to kind of distract you from maybe the tediousness of it, especially if you don't like to cook. Like, put on a podcast and challenge yourself to be done with all the prepping when, 2 episodes are over or whatever. But it's worth it when you start to see the results and you really start to see how much time it saves you. That is motivating in itself to keep doing it. So I never do a nutrition talk without talking about what our core principles are at Bandit and with Healthy Steps Nutrition. We always want to focus on whole foods first, eating, just simplifying it. This is super simple. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, a little bit of starch, and try to avoid sugar as much as possible. Once we really have cleaned up and those are the primary foods in our diet, then we want to focus on the balance of the macronutrients in our food, incorporating protein, low glycemic carbohydrates, and healthy sources of fat with meals and snacks. Using the plate method really helps to focus on balance. I think I have a slide to talk about that separately in a second. No, I don't. So let me tell you about the plate method in case you don't know. You're going to take your plate. It's round. It's a circle. You're going to divide it in half. Half of your plate you're going to fill up with your non-starchy vegetables. Think your greens, your spinach, your broccoli, asparagus, those kinds of things. Cauliflower counts as that because it's kind of like the albino green vegetable. And then the other half of your plate, you're going to divide in half as well. So now you've got 2/4. And 1/4, you're going to put your lean protein, so your meat. And then the other fourth of your plate, that's where your starchy carbohydrates go, your potatoes, your rice, your quinoa. squashes, those kinds of things. And then our last principle is to limit the amount of processed carbohydrates and sugar. So think about limiting the things that come in a package and shopping more along the outside of your grocery store, the perimeter of your grocery store. We do have a nutrition coaching program at Bandit. We are partnered with Healthy Steps Nutrition. This is just a couple of our little people that have done really good lately. So while you're prepping, you could listen to HSN's podcast, Nutrition Made Simple. A lot of motivating stories, interviews of, people that use the Healthy Steps Nutrition program at different gyms around the world and the success that they've had. And then there's just a lot of good education in that. So if you need some help, you could scan that there and we could do a free intro. So I do two different things with clients. Well, I do free intros too, where we just kind of get to know each other, and then I can kind of recommend what I think is best for you as an individual. I do power hours, which is just a one-time appointment where we kind of sit down and look at what life looks like, and then give you an action plan to kind of go and do on your own. And then I also work with clients one-on-one for 3 months at a time, where you come in either once a month or once every 2 weeks, kind of depending on your needs. And we assess and we set a plan going forward, and then we come back and check, and then we kind of assess what went well, what didn't went well. And then we make another plan for the next, 2 to 4 weeks or whatever. So those are the options. You can also always just send me a Facebook message or an Instagram message, or to the gym, because I see those too. So let me make sure that there's no questions in the chat. And that's it. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing y'all next month. I meant to look really quick before I got in here to remind myself what the topic was next month, but I've already forgotten it because it was last week when I looked at it. So be looking for that to come out in about the next 2 weeks. Oh, we do have Bandit is offering Bring a Friend Week at the gym next week. So if you're interested in kind of trying a class or seeing what we do, let me know and I will help you get signed up for that. Same way, you can send me a message, you can text me, you can call me, you can Instagram, Facebook, whatever. All right, y'all have a great day. Happy Friday.